Welcome to the Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today. We are taking a simulated road trip across the beautiful landscapes of Norway. But we aren't just here to look at the scenery, we're here to decode the secret language of the road. We're going to master the strict legal rules behind Norwegian information signs. Trust me, by the end of this journey, you're going to see these everyday signs in a completely new and fascinating light. So let's get our engines started.
Here's our roadmap for today's Explainer. 1. The Blue Sign Blueprint. 2. City streets and crossings. 3. Decoding parking and zones. 4. Highway and express rules. And 5. Colors, destinations, and services. Let's dive right in.
All right, part 1, the Blue Sign Blueprint, our core visual language.
You know, there's a really stark visual contrast out on the road. When you're driving, your brain processes shapes literally in an instant. Red triangles scream danger, and circles are all about strict prohibitions. But these rectangular and square signs with the blue backgrounds, they do something entirely different. They give you positive, binding instructions. They are essentially your quiet, authoritative guides.
And here's the thing. These blue signs aren't just friendly suggestions. They literally define the legal reality of the road ahead of you. Take a one-way street sign, for instance. It tells you all traffic flows in the direction of the arrow, sure. But legally, it means you have to proactively position your car for your next turn. If you're turning left, you need to be in that left lane because this sign guarantees there's no oncoming traffic to worry about.
So, let's say you've arrived in the city center. How do you navigate the tight streets and busy crossings safely? Because as we leave the open road and enter a dense urban area, the rules of engagement completely change. How do you handle the sudden influx of pedestrians, cyclists, and confusing intersections?
That brings us to part 2, city streets and crossings. When you spot these specific city signs, you've got to adapt your mindset instantly. Take the dead-end sign. Spotting this early saves you from getting trapped in tight residential spots. But look closely at the sign. Some of them have tiny symbols for pedestrians or cyclists. That means while cars absolutely have to turn back, walkers and bikers get to keep going. And speaking of those vulnerable road users, while you might see white zebra stripes painted on the road, it's actually the blue square sign with a person walking that acts as the strict legal indicator of a crosswalk. In Norway, you have a rigid duty to give way to pedestrians entering that crossing. You must adjust your speed well in advance so you can stop without any hesitation. The same goes for pedestrian and cycle paths. If you're driving out of a side road and cross one of these paths, those cyclists and walkers have absolute priority.
Okay, so you've safely navigated the pedestrians and the dead ends, but now you need to step out of the car. Where can you legally park without getting a hefty fine? Parking in a Norwegian city can honestly feel like a complex puzzle, but the signs actually give you all the clues you need to avoid a famously expensive ticket.
Let's figure this out in part 3, decoding parking and zones.
Unlike a single parking spot, zone rules apply to entire city blocks until you literally pass a cancel sign. To know exactly when those rules apply, you have to read the parking clock, found on the subpanels right under the main parking signs. These subpanels are basically your instant cheat sheet. See block numbers? Those dictate the rules for weekdays, Monday through Friday. Numbers wrapped in parentheses? Those are specifically for Saturdays. And red numbers indicate the rules for Sundays and public holidays. Once you learn to crack this color-coded clock, you'll know exactly when restrictions or payment requirements apply.
All right, our city errands are done, and you're entering the fast lane. What strict new rules immediately apply? Leaving the city limits means transitioning into a high-speed environment. The relaxed pace is over, and the information signs are about to dictate some heavy-duty logistics.
Which leads us to part 4, highway and express rules.
At high speeds, preparation is absolutely everything. As you approach complex intersections or roundabouts on these major roads, you'll spot pre-signal signs showing arrows that match the road layout ahead. If the left arrow says Trondheim and the right says Oslo, you need to make your choice immediately. You should turn this into an actionable safety process, spot the sign, match your destination, and position your vehicle early. Following this isn't just a polite suggestion, guys. It is a critical safety requirement to stop sudden, highly dangerous lane changes.
Now, as you select those lanes, pay really close attention to dedicated public transport markers. You have to stay completely out of these lanes if you're driving a standard passenger car. You are only allowed in them if you meet very specific immediate criteria, like if you're driving an electric vehicle with an EL license plate and meet passenger requirements during rush hour, or if you're just about to turn right at the very next intersection.
And keep this number in mind, 40. On these express roads, 40 kilometers per hour is an absolute baseline.
It is strictly forbidden to enter Norwegian motorways or express roads with a vehicle that cannot legally and technically reach at least 40 kilometers per hour on flat ground. That instantly rules out mopeds, tractors, and pedestrians from these high-speed networks.
To keep things safe at these speeds, you have to memorize the rule of strict prohibitions. Once you are on the motorway, there's absolutely no stopping, no parking, no reversing, and no U-turns. What happens if you accidentally miss your exit? Well, you simply have to keep going forward to the next one. You are locked into these rules until you see the exact same motorway sign crossed out with a red diagonal line. That's your cue, letting you know it's safe to transition back to lower speeds.
So we've navigated the strict rules of the highway, and now we're out on the beautiful open country roads. But a road trip requires planning. How do you plan your stops and know exactly where you're heading?
Let's dive into Part 5, Colors, Destinations, and Services.
Out here, service signs are basically your lifelines. A white H tells you a hospital is nearby, and specific symbols guide you to gas stations and rest areas so you can combat driving fatigue. But to know where you are actually going, you need to read the destination signs. Their background color acts as an instant communicator. By learning this color coding system, you boost your situational awareness tremendously. A blue sign? You're heading toward a motorway. Yellow points to national or regional roads. White directs you to local destinations. Brown, always a favorite on a road trip, points to tourist attractions. And orange warns you of temporary detours due to roadwork or accidents. With just a simple glance, you know exactly what type of road lies ahead.
And this brings us right back to why we've spent time decoding these signs today. They aren't just tedious, bureaucratic rules printed on metal. They are literally the very fabric of road safety. By paying attention to these blue squares and colorful destination markers, you make the road predictable. You eliminate the panic, you cut out the sudden braking, and you protect yourself and everyone else sharing the journey with you.
I really hope this explainer has transformed how you view the road, shifting these signs from just background scenery into a clear, vital language. You are now equipped to read the road like a pro. So ask yourself, how will understanding the strict legal weight behind every single blue information sign change your situational awareness the next time you get behind the wheel? Something to think about. Drive safe, stay alert, and thank you so much for joining me today.